Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Shariyu Verma Chopra and with me is Nishit Kumar with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says people of West Bengal have made up their mind for Pariborton. Prime Minister inaugurates various railway projects in West Bengal. Prime Minister Modi pitches for making Atmanirbhar India a hub of defence manufacturing. Prime Minister asserts Centre and Assam government working together to develop state infrastructure. Prime Minister to inaugurate Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Institute of Medical Science and Research and to address 66th Convocation of Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur in West Bengal tomorrow. Defence Minister says Pradhan Mantri Gramin Kaushal Vikas Yojana has enhanced skill development in rural parts of the country. Home Minister Amit Shah reviews progress of COVID-19 vaccination drive. National COVID-19 recovery reaches 97.22%. Over 1 crore 14 lakh vaccines administered so far. Political, social and religious gatherings prohibited in Maharashtra from today amid rise in COVID-19 cases. And in boxing, India's women contingent finishes at the top in 30th Adriatic Pearl Tournament in Budva, Montenegro. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, focus on hand and face hygiene, and now the news in detail. Prime Minister and senior BJP leader Narendra Modi has said that the people in West Bengal have made up their mind for Pariborton, that is change. Addressing a public meeting at Shahganj in Hooghly district today, he said that from the response of the gathering, it was clearly evident.
आप लोगों का ये उत्साह, ये उमंग, ये ऊर्जा कोलकाता से लेकर दिल्ली तक बहुत बड़ा संदेश दे रहा है। अब पश्चिम बंगाल परिवर्तन का मन बना चुका है।
He said that not only a change of government, but real change is required in West Bengal to take the state ahead in the path of development. He said development of Bengal will not be possible as long as syndicate Raj and cut money culture is there.
बंगाल का विकास तब तक संभव नहीं है जब तक यहाँ सिंडिकेट का राज रहेगा। बंगाल का विकास तब तक संभव नहीं है जब तक कट कल्चर बंगाल में रहेगा। बंगाल का विकास तब तक संभव नहीं है जब तक शासन प्रशासन गुंडों को आश्रय देगा। बंगाल का विकास तब तक संभव नहीं है जब तक कानून का राज पश्चिम बंगाल में स्थापित नहीं होता। ये तब तक संभव नहीं है जब तक पश्चिम बंगाल में सामान्य जन की सुनवाई करने वाली सरकार यहां नहीं बनती है। इसी स्थिति को बदलने के लिए आज पश्चिम बंगाल के कोने कोने से आवाज आ रही है, आमरा आशोल परिवर्तन चाहिए।
Mr. Modi said people from every corner of the state have been raising their voice in favor of change. Accusing the ruling government of the state, Mr. Modi said that poor people and farmers of West Bengal are being denied the benefits of central schemes like PM Kisan Nidhi and Ayushman Bharat. He said that 1,700 crore rupees had been allocated to the state for the central scheme Jal Jeevan Mission, but the state government had utilized only 609 crore.
बंगाल में सिर्फ अब तक 1.5-2 करोड़ घरों में से सिर्फ 9 लाख परिवार तक ही पाइप से पानी का कनेक्शन पहुंच पाया है। भारत सरकार ने, दिल्ली सरकार ने 1700 करोड़ रुपए से ज्यादा रकम ये टीएमसी सरकार को दी, लेकिन इसमें से सिर्फ 609 करोड़ रुपए ही यहाँ की सरकार ने खर्च किया है। बाकी 1100 करोड़ रुपया यहाँ की सरकार दबा करके बैठ गई है। सर,
Mr. Modi also accused the TMC government of pursuing appeasement politics instead of following development for all.
आज मैं बंगाल के लोगों को ये विश्वास दिलाता हूं, जब बंगाल में भाजपा की सरकार बनेगी तो हर बंगालवासी अपनी संस्कृति का गौरवगान पूरी ताकत और हिम्मत के साथ कर सकेगा। कोई आपको दबा नहीं पाएगा। भाजपा उस सोनार बांग्ला के निर्माण के लिए काम करेगी जिसमें यहां का इतिहास, यहां की संस्कृति दिनों दिन और मजबूत होगी। ऐसा बंगाल जहां आस्था, अध्यात्म और उद्यम सबका सम्मान होगा।
He said that connectivity plays an important role in development. The central government has prioritized investment in railway infrastructure in the area. Later in the evening, the Prime Minister flagged off the extended service of the Kolkata Metro Rail between Noapara and Dokhineshwar. The 4.1-kilometre long stretch of the Metro Rail has been constructed at a cost of 464 crore rupees. The much-awaited extension links the two world-famous Kali temples at Kalighat and Dokhineshwar. The Prime Minister also inaugurated and dedicated to the nation new lines of Eastern and Southeastern railways. Mr. Modi said common people, including students, will benefit from the extension of the metro.
ट्रांसपोर्ट के माध्यम जितने बेहतर होंगे, आत्मनिर्भरता और आत्मविश्वास का हमारा संकल्प उतना ही सशक्त होगा। आज नाओपाड़ा से दक्षिणेश्वर तक जिस खंड का उद्घाटन किया गया है, इससे 1.5 घंटे की दूरी सिर्फ 25-35 मिनट के बीच में सिमट जाएगी। इस सुविधा से स्कूल, कॉलेज जाने वाले युवाओं को, दफ्तरों, फैक्ट्रियों में काम करने वाले कर्मचारियों को, श्रमिकों को बहुत लाभ होगा। यही नहीं, कालीघाट और दक्षिणेश्वर में मां काली के मंदिरों तक पहुंचना भी अब श्रद्धालुओं के लिए बहुत आसान हो गया है।
Governor Jagdeep Dhankar and Railway Minister Piyush Goyal were also present in the program. Earlier, the Railway Minister also visited Dokhineshwar Metro Station and paid a visit to Kalighat Temple.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has stressed that the private sector can play an instrumental role in research, innovation, design, manufacturing of indigenous defence products to make the country self-reliant in the defence sector. The Prime Minister was speaking at the webinar for effective implementation of the Union Budget 2021 provisions for the defence sector today.
भारत रक्षा क्षेत्र में कैसे आत्मनिर्भर बने, इस संदर्भ में आज का ये संवाद मेरी दृष्टि से बहुत अहम है। बजट के बाद डिफेंस सेक्टर में क्या नई संभावनाएं बनी हैं, हमारी आगे की दिशा क्या हो, इस बारे में जानकारी और मंथन दोनों जरूरी है। जहां हमारे वीर जांबाज ट्रेनिंग लेते हैं, वहां हम अक्सर कुछ ऐसा लिखा हुआ देखते हैं कि शांति काल में बहाया हुआ पसीना युद्ध काल में रक्त बहने से बचाता है। यानी शांति की प्री कंडीशन है वीरता, वीरता की प्री कंडीशन है सामर्थ्य, और सामर्थ्य की प्री कंडीशन है पहले से की गई तैयारी।
Highlighting the need for reducing import dependence for defence equipment, Mr. Modi said the country must move forward to become an exporter of defence equipment from net importer. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that Centre and Assam government are working together to develop infrastructure in the state. The Prime Minister was speaking after dedicating to the nation key projects of the oil and gas sector at Silapathar in Dhemaji district of Assam. The Prime Minister said despite the state having great potential, former governments overlooked development in various sectors. This is the Prime Minister's third visit to Assam this year. The Prime Minister digitally dedicated to the nation the INDMAX unit at Indian Oil's Bongaigaon refinery, Oil India Limited secondary tank farm at Madhuban in Dibrugarh, and a gas compressor station at Hebeda village, Makhum, Tinsukia. He also inaugurated the Dhemaji Engineering College and laid the foundation stone for Sualkuchi Engineering College. The Prime Minister in his address said that these projects will generate employment opportunities for the youth of Assam. He said with the Ujjwala scheme in Assam being successful, the tea, tourism, handloom, handicraft sector of Assam will make Atmanirbhar Assam a success. Puducherry Chief Minister V. Narayanasamy today tendered his resignation to Lieutenant Governor Tamilisai Soundararajan after his government lost the majority in the Union Territory. Minutes after the Assembly met for a special one-day session this morning, Mr. Narayanasamy moved the motion seeking the confidence vote. However, Speaker V.P. Konluthu declared that V. Narayanasamy government has failed to win the trust vote. Speaking in the Assembly, Mr. Narayanasamy blamed the central government for not cooperating with him to run the government. Meanwhile, the BJP today took a dig at senior Congress leader Rahul Gandhi following the collapse of V. Narayanasamy government in Puducherry. In a tweet, senior party leader and Union Minister Piyush Goyal, while taunting Mr. Gandhi's recent visit to the UT, said the former Congress President's Puducherry visit to strengthen his party has gone well. He said the Congress lost power in Puducherry, reducing its presence to just 3 states, along with a trivial existence in Maharashtra and Jharkhand. He said a few years from now, Congress will only exist in the books of history.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address the 66th convocation of the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, in West Bengal tomorrow through video conferencing. The Prime Minister will also inaugurate Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Institute of Medical Science and Research at IIT Kharagpur. The Super Speciality Hospital and Medical College has been set up by the Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur, with support from the Union Ministry of Education. It will focus on robust biomedical, clinical and translational research, development of remote diagnosis, telemedicine, teleradiology, along with research in drug and delivery. The MBBS program is expected to start from the academic year 2021 to 22, in addition to postgraduate and doctoral programs. The convocation will take place at the Netaji Auditorium of the prestigious institute. Due to the COVID pandemic situation, only 75 students to be awarded with medals are scheduled to be present at the auditorium. More than 2,500 students are supposed to join the convocation virtually. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh today inaugurated the Skill Development Centre, SDC, for fire safety training in the Defence Research and Development Organisation, DRDO, at Pilkua in Uttar Pradesh through virtual mode. The facility, created by the Delhi-based DRDO Laboratory Centre for Fire, Explosive and Environment Safety, is aimed at developing trained human resources, fire safety technology and products to save precious human lives and valued assets. Mr. Singh emphasized that in any fire tragedy, the nation loses precious lives and valuable assets. He said, to prevent such losses, this training centre will go a long way in ensuring quality training to the personnel and preventing such mishaps. Our correspondent reports that spread over 24 acres in Pilkua, the DRDO facility would be utilized for imparting fire prevention and firefighting training to the fire service personnel of the Indian Armed Forces, DRDO, Ordnance Factories, Coast Guard and defence undertakings. In addition, trainees from Bhutan, Sri Lanka and other neighbouring countries would also be imparted training at the centre.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says people of West Bengal have made up their mind for Paribartan. Prime Minister inaugurates various railway projects in West Bengal. Prime Minister Modi pitches for making Atmanirbhar India a hub of defence manufacturing. Prime Minister asserts Centre and Assam government working together to develop state infrastructure. Prime Minister to inaugurate Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Institute of Medical Science and Research and to address the 66th convocation of the Indian Institute of Technology Kharagpur in West Bengal tomorrow. Defence Minister says Pradhan Mantri Gramin Kaushal Vikas Yojana has enhanced skill development in rural parts of the country. Home Minister Amit Shah reviews progress of COVID-19 vaccination drive. National COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 97.22%, over 1 crore 14 lakh vaccines administered so far. Political, social and religious gatherings prohibited in Maharashtra from today amid rise in COVID-19 cases. And in boxing, India's women's contingent finishes at the top in 30th Adriatic Pearl Tournament in Budva, Montenegro. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
चलो मिलकर एक शुरुआत करें, चलो एक फैसला आज करें, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे, चलो एक इरादा करते हैं, चलो खुद से वादा करते हैं, मास्क नहीं तो टोकेंगे, कोरोना को रोकेंगे।
ग्लोबल टॉय इंडस्ट्री 7 लाख करोड़ रुपए से भी अधिक की है। टीम अप फॉर टॉयज।
The Government of India is organizing India's first ever, the India Toy Fair. Indian local toy manufacturers march forward for Atmanirbhar Bharat. It's time to get vocal for your remarkable local. From 27 February to 2nd March, must come forward to get registered online at www.theindiatoyfair.in.
The first ever National Toy Fair will be organized from 27th of February to 2nd of March through a virtual medium. It aims to boost toy manufacturing in the country and improve its global market share in line with the theme of Atmanirbhar Bharat. Our correspondent has filed this report.
Metal Toys India Private Limited is one of the leading manufacturers which is participating in the National Toy Fair. Lauding the efforts of the central government for coming up with this first of its kind initiative, Mr. Lalit Agrawal, country manager of Metal India, said,
भारत में खिलौनों के लिए एक मजबूत तंत्र तैयार करने के लिए हम भारतीय सरकार की सराहना करते हैं और सरकारी एजेंसियों के साथ मिलकर भारतीय खिलौना उद्योग को एक बढ़ावा देने के लिए हम उत्सुक भी हैं। नेशनल टॉय फेयर ये जो हो रहा है वो खिलौना उद्योग के लिए हमारी प्रतिबद्धता भी दर्शाती है और ये अवसर भी है हमारे लिए कि हम इस मौके पर खास तौर पे भारत के लिए भारत में बने खिलौने जैसे बारबी इन इंडिया है उसको भी हम इस मौके पर प्रदर्शित करेंगे।
Jay Precision Products Private Limited, which is into the business since last 3 decades, is also participating in the fair. Mr. Zubin Rao of the company said,
"We have to compete with China. We have to try to bring in business into the country. Government has to promote Indian businesses. Incentives should be given."
With Kunal Shinde, this is Sweetie Jain for AIR News, Mumbai.
Home Minister Amit Shah today held a high-level review meeting on the progress of the COVID-19 vaccination drive. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan, Niti Aayog member Dr. V.K. Paul, Principal Secretary to Prime Minister Dr. P.K. Mishra and Home Secretary Ajay Bhalla were present in the meeting. The meeting came in the wake of the sudden spike in the number of COVID-19 cases in a few states. The Home Minister expressed satisfaction at the ongoing vaccination drive and hoped it will continue smoothly.
Union government has said that a total of 1,14,24,094 doses have been administered till 6 p.m. today. Addressing media in New Delhi, Additional Secretary in the Health Ministry Manohar Agnani said vaccination for health care workers is 75,40,602, including first dose to over 64 lakh and second dose to over 11 lakh. A total of 38,83,492 frontline workers have been covered with the first dose. Total vaccinations done today are 3,07,238. Meanwhile, the country's COVID-19 recovery rate reached 97.22% with a total recovery of more than 9,000 patients in the last 24 hours. In order to control rising corona cases, various strict measures are being implemented in Maharashtra. Mask, social distancing and sanitization drives are being conducted strictly at various places. Number of tests for suspected corona patients were also increased. More from our correspondent.
In the wake of rising corona situation in Maharashtra, few more local administrations have announced lockdown and night curfew. Complete lockdown is announced in Akola, Murtijapur and Akot town till 1st March. Curfew is imposed in Pandharpur town and nearby villages due to Magh Wari. Pimpri-Chinchwad Municipal Corporation, Satara and Jalgaon district administrations have announced night curfew till month end. All school, colleges and educational institutes will remain closed till 7th March in Nagpur. BJP has put on hold its Jail Bharo Andolon scheduled on Wednesday. Mumbai Congress has also cancelled all its program scheduled in next 10 days. NCP has already called off जनता दरबार। जीवन भावसार, AIR न्यूज, मुंबई।
The Uttar Pradesh government today presented the biggest ever budget to the tune of around 5,50,270 lakh crore rupees to make Atmanirbhar or self-reliant Uttar Pradesh. Our correspondent reports that the budget focuses on farmers' welfare, women's empowerment and the health sector along with other development projects. More in this report.
Atmanirbhar Krishak Samanvit Vikas Yojana has been launched for the welfare of farmers of the state. 700 crores have been allocated for free irrigation to the farmers. Loan to the farmers will be given on reduced rates with a fund of 400 crore rupees. The state government in 2021-22 also proposes to set up 15,000 solar pumps. A sum of rupees 100 crores has been set aside for ensuring proper nutrition to girls and rupees 32 crores for setting up Mahila Shakti Kendra. To improve the tourism in Ayodhya city, 101 crore rupees have been allocated in the budget for the development of Maryada Purushottam Shri Ram Airport. Yogi Adityanath government has also announced to provide financial help to destitute women under Mahila Samarthya Yojana till they get alimony from court. The state government will provide free tablet to the eligible students under Abhyuday scheme. Fooding and lodging will now be free for those students who are learning Sanskrit language on Gurukul pattern. Speaking in a press conference after the budget, UP CM Yogi Adityanath said that this budget will become medium to fulfill aspirations according to the potential of the state. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Madhya Pradesh, senior BJP member Girish Gautam was unanimously elected as Speaker of the State Assembly on the first day of the budget session today. More from our correspondent.
Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan moved a proposal in the House to elect Girish Gautam as the Assembly's Speaker. The opposition Congress earlier said it had decided to extend support for an unopposed election to the Speaker's post. Mr. Gautam is a four-term MLA from Deotalab constituency in Rewa district. On the occasion, Mr. Gautam said that he will remain unbiased in conducting proceedings of the House. The session began with address by Governor Anandiben Patel. Praising the efforts of the state government, she said that the government took over the charge in challenging circumstances of COVID, yet performed well in all sectors. The budget session will continue till March 26th. Pooja Pivardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Bihar, a Deputy Chief Minister, Tarkishore Prasad, who holds the finance portfolio, presented the annual budget for 2021-22 in the State Assembly today. The state budget, worth 2,18,303 crore rupees, lays special emphasis on education, rural development and social welfare. Presenting the budget with a revenue surplus of over 11,789 crore rupees, Mr. Prasad said the proposed allocations made for 2021-22 have increased by 6,541 crore rupees as compared to that of the current fiscal year. In Odisha, Finance Minister Niranjan Pujari today presented the state budget for 2021-22 in the Odisha Assembly. The budget, with an outlay of 1,70,000 crore rupees, is about 26% more than the revised estimate for 2020-21. More in this report.
The state budget has put a thrust on realizing the aspiration for new Odisha, empowered Odisha, with an agenda that would transform different sectors from health and agriculture to infrastructure and industries, while still safeguarding the interest of the vulnerable sections of the society. A couple of ambitious budget proposals include converting the SCB Medical College Cuttack into an AIIMS Plus Institute to provide world-class healthcare facilities, a mega plan to transform the holy city of Puri into a World Heritage City, and a new world-class hockey stadium in Rourkela. Girish Chandra Das, AIR News, Bhubaneswar.
President Ramnath Kovind will embark on a two-day visit to Gujarat from tomorrow. The President will grace the third convocation of the Central University of Gujarat at Gandhinagar tomorrow. He will inaugurate the Motera Cricket Stadium in Ahmedabad on the 24th of this month in the presence of Home Minister Amit Shah. The Supreme Court today allowed Congress MP Karti Chidambaram, who is facing criminal cases that are being probed by the Enforcement Directorate and Central Bureau of Investigation, to travel abroad. A bench headed by Justice Ashok Bhushan asked Chidambaram to deposit 2 crore rupees with the registry and submit details of the places to be visited and the places where he would be staying.
Delhi police has arrested a person who allegedly climbed on one of the tombs of the Red Fort during the violence in the farmers' tractor rally on 26th of January. The arrested person is a resident of northwest Delhi. Earlier, another person was also arrested who was seen waving swords on the ramparts. Several protesters had clashed with the police during the protest against the farm laws. They had also reached the Red Fort on that day, deviating from the route for the tractor rally set by the Delhi police. Chief of the Indian Air Force, Air Chief Marshal Rakesh Kumar Singh Bhadauria arrived in Dhaka today on a 3-day visit on the invitation of his Bangladeshi counterpart, Air Chief Marshal Mashihuzzama Sarniabat. He is accompanied by a 2-member delegation. The IAF chief is scheduled to pay a courtesy call on the Air Force and Army chiefs of Bangladesh and other senior officials of the country. Union Home Secretary Ajay Kumar Bhalla today reviewed the status of the artificial lake which was formed in the wake of the avalanche incident in the upper catchment of the Rishi Ganga River in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand. During the meeting, Uttarakhand Chief Secretary, who joined the meeting through video conference, informed that based on the physical assessment of the artificial lake made on site by multiple scientific agencies and satellite data, there is no imminent danger as the volume of water is less than expected and is flowing through a natural channel which has been widened. Secretary DRDO and the state administration have been asked to keep a continued watch on the situation in coordination with the central and state agencies. The Home Secretary also assured continued help and assistance from the central agencies to the state government. In boxing, Arundhati Chaudhary in 69 kg category and Naorem Baby Roji Sana Chanu 51 kg category won the gold medals as India's women contingent ended the 30th Adriatic Pearl Tournament in Budva, Montenegro with 5 gold, 3 silver and 2 bronze medals in addition to 3 male boxers winning bronze. India's women's contingent thus finished top of the podium at the tournament and took home the trophy. Baby Rosizana beat Sabina Bobokulova of Uzbekistan, while Arundhati beat Ukraine's Marina Stoiko in their final bouts yesterday.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi is likely to have shallow fog. The temperature will hover between 13 and 32 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will have a mainly clear sky. Minimum temperatures will be 26 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 32 degrees. Chennai is expected to have generally cloudy skies with light rain, temperatures varying between 23 and 30 degrees Celsius. In Kolkata, mainly clear skies will prevail. The city will observe minimum temperatures of 19 degrees Celsius and a maximum of around 33 degrees. Srinagar will witness thunderstorms with rain. Temperature will hover between 4 and 10 degrees Celsius. Jammu will have partly cloudy skies, becoming generally cloudy towards afternoon or evening or night. The minimum temperature will be 12 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 21 degrees. Leh will have a generally cloudy sky. The minimum temperature will be -2 degrees Celsius, maximum around 8. Gilgit will have generally cloudy skies with light rain. The temperature will hover between 3 and 19 degrees Celsius. Muzaffarabad will witness thunderstorms with rain. The temperature will hover between 8 and 18 degrees Celsius. And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says people of West Bengal have made up their mind for Pariborton. Prime Minister inaugurates various railway projects in West Bengal. Prime Minister Modi pitches for making Atmanirbhar India a hub of defence manufacturing. Prime Minister asserts Centre and Assam government working together to develop state infrastructure. Prime Minister to inaugurate Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee Institute of Medical Science and Research and to address 66th convocation of Indian Institute of Technology, Kharagpur in West Bengal tomorrow. Defence Minister says Pradhan Mantri Gramin Kaushal Vikas Yojana has enhanced skill development in rural parts of the country. Home Minister Amit Shah reviews progress of COVID-19 vaccination drive. National COVID-19 recovery reaches 97.22%. Over 1 crore 14 lakh vaccines administered so far. Political, social and religious gatherings prohibited in Maharashtra from today amid rise in COVID-19 cases. In boxing, India's women's contingent finishes at the top in the 30th Adriatic Pearl Tournament in Budva, Montenegro. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on Air app. And with that, we end the evening news. Good night.